Our top story tonight, the growing effort to fight drug trafficking, specifically fentanyl, from coming into our state.
Earlier this week, Tennessee lawmakers filed a bill to classify fentanyl as a chemical warfare agent. As we told you, this means the drug would be considered a weapon of mass destruction.
That classification would come with increased punishments, and it's not the first time in recent years Tennessee has upped the punishment for trafficking drugs.
Reporter Ansley Daniels spoke with the TBI and criminal prosecutors who now treat overdose-related deaths as homicide cases.
You need to cut it off the head to stop the problem. So if you go after these drug dealers that are then distributing to the other low-level dealers, we hope to stop that there.
Dismantling those drug organizations inside the region when the supply is mostly from outside is a complex task.
We have an influx right now coming in from Detroit, Michigan, and that's been our battle. That seems to be our source city that we've been dealing with amongst cities in Ohio. We're in a very geographically located area here in Northeast Tennessee where we have a lot of interstate systems that run through our area.
Chuck Kimbrell is an assistant special agent in charge at the TBI. He says time is of the essence in any death investigation, but overdose deaths are particularly difficult.
You're talking about developing information, multiple interviews. We have a lot of times a lot of people that are unwilling to cooperate in those investigations. A lot of times when we arrive on the scenes, those scenes have already been cleaned up by friends, family members who might be ashamed to think that their loved one died of an overdose.
According to the TBI, the number of overdose deaths has spiked in the region over the last few years as fentanyl made its way to the Tri-Cities.
It's mixed in with many other drugs, including opioids and non-opioids, that being cocaine, that being pressed Xanax pills, Adderall. So we're seeing an increase in counterfeit pills coming into the area.
Treating those deaths as homicides from the very beginning is crucial for prosecutors.
Now we'll secure the scene. Maybe before we wouldn't secure the scene, we have things we're looking for. A lot of these are intel-driven investigations. So we'll collect evidence in that respect. We'll get statements from people that were on scene and start the investigation that way on the forefront instead of going back 2 months later when we get the autopsy and starting it then.
As fentanyl continues to claim more lives, area prosecutors are pushing for second-degree murder charges in these cases, oftentimes pairing it with the sale or delivery charge.
Before, you had to prove a recklessness, a knowledge, say it was an opiate, and it was too much, and it killed them. Well, you had to prove that they knowingly.
While the evidence is there, bringing these cases before a grand jury can be challenging.
Just because you're participating in illegal narcotics does not mean it should be a death sentence. So I think it's very important to try to let the grand jurors and jurors know that this was somebody's mom, dad, sister, brother, and it's a loss of life and it should be taken seriously.
You know, right now, a person convicted of selling or delivering fentanyl faces 3 to 6 years in prison, but with an added second-degree murder conviction, they'll serve a minimum 15-year prison sentence if the bill to classify fentanyl as a chemical warfare agent is passed. A violation would be a Class B felony, punishable by up to 30 years in prison and fines up to $25,000.
Addiction is a struggle that can impact anyone at any age, any time, and that's an unfortunate truth that the Army National Guard is teaching parents with the new stashed away drug prevention trailer. From a distance, the trailer looks like your average teen bedroom, but it's set up to show parents common hiding spaces for drugs and drug paraphernalia that your teens could be hiding. The free exhibit also helps parents know how to talk about drugs and help teens avoid bad habits.